Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. Today's video I wanted to chat about the reality of mom time. And as I say it, I giggle a little bit because even if you are just a homeschool mama with typically developing children, plus housework, plus cooking, plus all the things that we do, mom time can be in short supply, and it can feel even overwhelming when it's offered because then we feel like we better make this like last and work for a really long time, and it's not always easy. So I wanted to share some of the things that I have over several years developed. One of the things I will share is that I don't like to drive. So I didn't get my driver's license. I didn't get my anything. And so I am truly, quote unquote, trapped by choice in my small town. If I go somewhere, I go with my spouse or with a friend. And so the idea of going to like vast places and doing things and whatever is not usually what happens. So I am planning a trip. I'm very excited with my stepmom. She loves hiking, and I found the perfect place to hike. I'm very excited, and I hope that it happens sometime this summer. But there's a place called Six Glacier Tea House. It is in Alberta, but it's a 4-hour hike. I can't remember if it's both ways or just one way, but to me it doesn't matter because I love painting mountains. I love having pictures of that I can reference back later, and I'm like, 6 glaciers in one spot. Literally there are 6 glaciers in the panorama because the tea house is in like a valley. Epic, awesome in every way. So that happens hardly ever, like never ever. But it's one of those things where when you have a chance to do something like that, like you leap on it and jump all over it and go, this is mine. It's happening. It's happening. But I wanted to talk about like long term. This is like a one major lifetime thing that I am doing after my children are 15, 14, and 12. So I just want to put that out there, and I'm going with somebody who loves hiking, and I just feel like that doesn't always happen either. The stars have to align. So I want to talk about the reality. So the big one that I have found is my mindset is key. My mindset is key. If I look at the daily dishes that never end, the laundry that never ends, the vacuuming that never ends, the constant tidying up, and then like honestly, if you could look around this room and see just how not tidy it is, or how I've had to like, because this room in particular is our homeschool room, it's our dining room table, it's our small group space, it's mommy's storage for books that I just got for next year. Like it is everything. This room is everything in our house. It's the hub of the house. Kitchen's just over there so I can see dishes and the whole 9 yards, right? So it could be really easy to look at my life and go, hokey Pete. Like it's just a dumpster fire. It's just a dumpster fire. There's a mess everywhere. It's disorganized. And I know for some people that doesn't work, right? You need your space clear and whatever. And trust me, I would love it to be that way. But I have learned to accept things as they are and not what I wish they would be. Like I would love the HGTV after, when they take all of the fancy, like they put up fancy moldings and everything has space and it's beautiful. Like I would love that. Would love that. But it's not going to happen. And I'm okay with that because that's the stage I am right now. Perhaps if we buy a house one day and we have a designated spot for all of these things, it might be less crazy, but it is. So my mindset is key when it comes to my house. Its mindset is key when it comes to dealing with special needs and when it comes to dealing with being with my kids all the time. And the big thing that I've learned is I need a future focus when my girls are no longer home, or when my son is older, and I don't know what that looks like, but it might not look like it is right now. And so mommy time is also going, you know what, I'm going to let the house be the house, the mess, and I'm going to focus on just being with them because they will only be 15, 14, and 12 for so long. And I have to look at and go, I have a 15-year-old son who wants to cuddle with me still. He wants to love on me and give me kisses and stuff on my cheek. And I recognize, having friends who have kids that are 15, that's not a regular thing. Yes, he's autistic, and yes, that comes with hardships and difficulties and frustrations and all of the things. But I also need to be really thankful for the fact that I get to keep my little boy little for longer because that's the development that he's in. And I'm like, oh, shucks. Like, he wants me to hug him because he's sad. Oh. With my girls too, like my 14-year-old, she's very much, she wants to do the bro hug. And I'm like, I carried you for 9 months. Give me a real hug. So I've learned to, and like I said, this doesn't happen all the time. I'm not perfect at it, but I've had to learn to see the world with, I want to say rose-colored glasses, but that's not the term. Just to be present in this moment and not focus on the things that are frustrating about it. Focus on the things that I have because of special needs or because I'm homeschooling. I get to be with my kids and get to know them, have a relationship with them that is vastly different than my friends who have kids in school. Now, if you have kids in school, I'm not saying that, you're missing out. I don't know your situation, but I recognize in my situation with my daughter, even when she was in grade 3, she was pulling away and wanting to do her own thing. And while that's to a degree good and normal, to another side, it's, we used to butt heads a lot, and now we don't really, because there's an understanding there, because you need to have that understanding to live with each other every single day, all day. So yeah, that was number 1. Number 2 is I tinker with mom time. I tinker a little bit. So as you know, if you know me at all or have watched my channel, I love painting landscapes and doing big, huge ones. This one you only see, this is like 3 feet by 8 feet long. So this is only a short little bit, but it goes all the way there and it goes all the way over here. So of course it's gonna fall. So one of the things that I have learned to do is I have picked up doing watercolors because it's not too far off. It's a little bit more persnickety when it comes to like white, because I can paint white over top of color with acrylic. With watercolor, not so much. So I've had to learn to adapt a little bit, but the thing that comes with watercolors is I can do it. Are you okay? He's frustrated. Okay, I'm talking. He's frustrated with his game. I've learned to adjust how I do things, because with watercolor I can dabble or tinker a little bit, and then I don't have to put a whole bunch of paint away. I don't have a huge tray. I don't have paint drying, because watercolors, it's okay if it dries because you can just wet it again later. So I've learned to adapt, and I don't do it very often, like very often at all. So my husband's actually away on a business trip right now, and so I have been tinkering when I'm waiting for my son to go to the bathroom, where when my husband's home, we're usually spending time together during that time. So it's funny to me how it's just like little tiny bits, but that little tiny bit gives me a little bit more energy for later. I also try with my son, he likes doing paintings on occasion. And so then I'll be like, okay, you paint this and I'll paint this. And then he needs help and I'll do something with him. And then I'll come back and do a little bit on mine. So that's why I call it I tinker. I also tinker with my plants. As I've gotten older, I want green things in my house, whether it's some fake flowers or fake greenery or real plants. And I've gotten a few from a couple of IKEA trips, because I was like, if your $4 plant from IKEA dies, you're like, oh well. But I've managed, and I think IKEA does a really good job of picking plants that are really hard to kill. Like, I have learned that. So I have a couple of spider plants. I have some snake plants, I think they're called, or mother-in-law tongue plants. I have some cactuses. I have, I can't remember what they're called. But they grow really easy, and they're really easy to snip and propagate. Those are the type of plants that I have gotten, and I have a perfect amount right now that they look different enough that it's like my own little secret garden in front of my window that has the sun. And I just love sitting in there in the morning. I'll come and I'm like, oh, do they need water or whatever? But that's purely for me. Purely for me and my benefit. And I love that it helps me improve my mood, especially in long winters like in Alberta, Canada. I do one thing a week. My girls do dance 1 day a week. And so you could call that something for me, but it's more I drop them off and then I'll maybe sit there. I haven't been this year because I've become the designated babysitter of other people's children. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. So maybe I'll go for a walk or I'll do that. But I do have one thing that I used to sing in a choir before I got married and had children, and the past 2 years I have joined a choir, and every Tuesday night I spend 2 hours doing something that I enjoy. And it does tend to get very busy when it comes to the concerts and my children when they do their recital. That's the word I'm looking for. But at the same time, I'm like, that's the process of doing a practice weekly is something that I enjoy, because again, it gets my artistic stuff out. The other thing that I would say is, if you can do a commitment or find a commitment that you do that that is a commitment that you say that you'll do, but it doesn't happen on a weekly basis. So for me, our church has a decorating committee, and originally I was recruited for my artistic eye. They're like, we know you're super busy. We know. But it's because of that, I have developed friendships where we go on IKEA trips once a year for my birthday. That's become something that I do. It's also been really helpful because one Saturday every few seasons, it depends on what's going on. This coming season is crazy busy because that's where the dance recital is. So I'm doing dance recital as a parent, but also as a it can get crazy. But because I'm spending time with someone on a regular basis, I have developed a friendship and a love of actually spending time with them while we're doing something productive and creative and whatever. So again, not any of this will be found like that. There's a bunch of trial and error that I have done for many, many, many years. But for the most part, my life is here. And it's so funny when I do go out, everyone's like, oh, you're still you still live here? And I go, yes. Yes, I do. I just live at home. And so it is one of those things where if I can encourage you as mama, that mom time can look vastly different for every single one of us. And it's okay if it takes some time to figure that out. Figure out what you're interested in, what you enjoy, what's going to work with your husband's schedule, with what your kids are able to do. I didn't do all of this when the kids were little. I'll stop. And then when I started homeschooling, I didn't do a lot of this because I was still trying to get my head around homeschooling 3 kids. So give yourself grace. Like I said, that number 1 that I spoke about earlier is your mindset is huge, because if you look at it and go, I'm looking for the things that I as mom enjoy about being with my kids, then that desperate need to get some time. There's a word that self-care. That's the word that I don't like. But it's just your mom time, the things that fill your cup, you're going to find organically over time. And as your family adjusts to certain circumstances and time frames and whatever. So I just wanted to encourage you with that and tell you, yeah, if you're in the season where you are home all the time and you don't get out and you don't do your hair and you barely shower, I'm still there. 1 shower a week. That's it. It's just because by the time I do my hair, and like it's a thing of work by itself. But if you're in that state, it's okay. It's okay. And I promise you that you will survive it. And there are things that you can do, even if it's just tinkering, that can give you just that little boost of energy and time that you didn't think that you had. So I hope that this helps. I hope it encourages you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We'll talk to you later. Bye.